Right, guys, welcome back. This is Above Average FPL. My name is Adam, and as always, joined by Baker. How you doing, mate?
Very well, mate. Very, very well.
Good, good, good. And I can see that the sound is working, so that's good. That's a good start.
Always a bonus, mate.
So, a little bit of extra content on a Thursday, just chilling out, watching a bit of football. We're going to cover all the games and stuff, but brought a friend to come and help us do that. PJ, how you doing, mate?
Oh,
No, mate, we can't hear you. What a start. What a start. Nah, get that mic working, mate.
PJ got no guess. Where has he been?
Nightmare. Okay, well we'll give him a moment to try and sort it out. PJ, if you shout when you can. Nah, that's no good, mate. We'll tell you when we can hear you. So yeah, so hello.
Hello.
There we go. We found him.
We've got ya.
Doesn't make any. I mean, you were literally chatting to me for 15 minutes before, and then as soon as it starts, you suddenly can't hear me.
Yeah, no idea. We couldn't hear you. Stream couldn't hear you. Nothing. But it's all good now. It's all good. We're in.
Madness.
How are you?
Hello. I'm okay, thank you. I'm okay.
Good.
Enjoying the United game. Enjoying the start of the season, and yeah, happy to be amongst two, legends of the FPL community to chat all things fantasy football.
That's a bit too much for us.
Bit much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did tell me to say that. Did I not deliver it right? Yeah. Just go back to my beard.
Perfect. Cool. So yeah, we're going to run through the games, but we'll get the admin out of the way. Before that, just hello to everyone in the YouTube chat, and we'll catch up with you in a couple of minutes. Firstly, guys and girls, thank you for joining us. Whether you're catching up with the podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube, or whether you're with us in the live stream, we appreciate every single one of you. And that doesn't matter whether you found us for the first time here today, or whether you're a seasoned follower of the show. Above Average FPL is supported by our good friend Dan. He is at CryptoBlockDan on Twitter. Dan has been in the crypto space for many, many years, doing very, very well. And he's currently working as an analyst with a company who works specifically in play-to-earn crypto gaming. Now, if you're interested in the blockchain, if you're interested in NFTs and the use cases of the technology in the future, then please go drop him a follow. Go ask him some questions. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer anything that you need to know. If you haven't maxed out all your mini leagues yet, there's one more that you can join. That is UAT148. The auto join links are going to be down in the description below. Last year's winner Jamie Pigott is in there, so it must be a good mini league to be in, I would say. And we're going to shut entries at the start of the World Cup, so make sure you get in there nice and early and see if you can win it. If you enjoyed the content that you see today, there's a couple of ways in which you can support the channel. The first one is to like, comment, subscribe and review. It helps us promote the channel and it allows us to reach more and more people looking for weekly FPL content. Alternatively, Baker and I are really looking to grow the channel this year. We've had a great 12 months, but we're looking to take that even further. If you wish to support the channel in that way, we have our YouTube memberships open now. We're looking to do maybe better content, more content, anything that we can make the FPL experience better for you guys. We are going to try and do that. Finally, once again from Baker and I, thank you very much for being here, and now we'll get back to the good stuff. And guys, yeah, so the Football Content Awards are up for nominations at the moment. Obviously Baker and I have done a lot of work over the last 12 months. If you think that we are, maybe worthy of a nomination, then head down to the description below the YouTube video. It should also be in the podcast show notes as well. And we'd really appreciate any support towards that. That would be wonderful. So let's move on from that. And yeah, Baker, how was your week so far?
It's good. I mean, Erling Cap, isn't it?
I mean, this is the story of the week, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, Erling Cap. I mean, he actually, regardless of your cap, they did all right in the end. So the difference of points, as long as you've got
yeah, I don't really think it's just, I think it's only the story of the week for those people of which there's a frightening amount who didn't own Haaland. A smattering of those in the community, and those people have obviously just been annihilated. Reminds me of the Aguero match about 3 years ago, where quite a few people didn't own. Obviously, Haaland had a much higher ownership this time. But I captained Salah, and as a Salah captainer, Haaland owner, I've survived this week fine. I think, but for those people who, a lot of people who captained KDB and didn't own Haaland, just a complete, 30 to 40 point swing really, really rough. And hard for those people to kind of pick themselves up and come back. And yeah, sympathies with all of them. Rest in peace.
And now we're about to enter into the firefight of Champions League rotation potentially, and all this sort of stuff coming up as well. So there's all these fantastic returns that are coming from Haaland, and we're all sitting here thinking, okay, he might start more games, but he might not, and we just don't know until because Pep was like, okay, when Haaland doesn't play, Julian will play, and what did he do? He just started them both, which came out of nowhere for me.
He made a comment about that as well, about the fact that when teams sit in, that's what he might do. So that's one to watch. I mean, I am literally so thankful that I think your daughter woke up on Sunday night and you cleared off and left me having a turmoil breakdown on stream, talking about whether I was going to go on Erling or not. Because we were, I think at that point when we went in, we were both looking more Mo before Sunday night. I come off it and I was like, how do you go against this man? Because he's just ridiculous. The more we talked about like that third goal last weekend, it was like, if he plays, there's just no doubt in it. And then you were like,
well, that was it. I said that I didn't think he'd start, and I didn't change my opinion on that before the game, and yet we very quickly turned around and said actually captaining him probably was the right idea anyway, because you were either going to get 20 minutes of Haaland, 70 minutes of Haaland, or you were going to get no Haaland then Mo. So it was like, well, you can't really lose doing it that way. It didn't feel like you could lose.
We're going to have this every time now, though, aren't we? Because we've got Champions League every midweek. We've got games, before Champions League, games after Champions League. Like, what do we do now? Like this weekend, you've got people that captain Mo. Do you double down and go Mo again? People that captain Erling, do you double down and go Erling again? Or do you do the switch to Mo? You've got, KDB. If you had KDB, bearing in mind he's just rested, would you cap KDB this weekend?
I think you've got to this weekend. If you took that risk already, I'm sure I saw Mark Southern say just that. This is we know that KDB is going to start this weekend. But we know as much as we possibly could that he will start this game. It's a tougher game on paper than obviously the Forest one, but the Villa aren't in a lot of form right now, and it's a type of game where a player of KDB's class could easily have 2 or 3 attacking returns. You've got to captain him. I think if you own him. And if I was on a free hit this weekend for some bizarre reason, like I accidentally pressed that massive button, which is much bigger than my transfer button every time I try to make one, then KDB would be in the side and would be my captain for this week.
So you've got some people some people are thinking about wild cards as well this week. Would you look at potentially KDB and go away from? Can you go away from Haaland?
I don't think you can go away from Haaland. No.
Can you go away from Salah?
I think it'd be. Yeah, I think you could. You could. Short term, I think you potentially could, just because I don't think Liverpool look right now. And whereas City look, on absolute fire, it's so free scoring that yes, I think you can make a case for that. And I'm sure we'll come on to, Salah's role does look as if it's slightly changed for Liverpool. He's certainly becoming more creative and less selfish. So, I think that is a factor as well. So, I think he is definitely one. Haaland, no, you can't not have Haaland in your team. He could score 3 goals in 20 minutes. So, yeah.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Cool. So, obviously, we've got other teams facing Champions League, Europe, etc. this week coming up. That has questions around players like Son, Kane, Perisic in particular. What are your thoughts? I guess a lot of people are asking what our thoughts are on that. But do we want to have a look at like rest days and stuff like that for the teams?
We can have the conversation, can't we, about do we think we're going to get rest?
That's the wrong one. That's the one. So LR put out a tweet earlier on about notable hours rest before game week 6, and for the guys on audio. So Liverpool have got 62.5 hours versus Everton's 86.5. Can't see that making much of a difference, to be honest. Spurs similar, 65.5 to Fulham's 89.5. Chelsea have got a massive 91.5 hours before their game against West Ham. They got 67.5. Newcastle 65 and Palace 89.5. Forest 65.5, same as Bournemouth. Villa City the same, 68. And Man U 66.5 with Arsenal having 91. So with Tottenham having the Tuesday game, does that play even more into your mind from a Perisic point of view? Because we both own Perisic.
Tuesday Champions League.
Do you own Perisic, PJ?
I don't know.
How do you feel going into game week 6 without him?
I'd be surprised if he started. I think much of that is helpful, not to just piss all over Late Rise's slide there, or tweet rather. I think what's of more relevance is the teams who are playing in the Champions League on a kind of Tuesday night. I think at this stage of the season, that's probably negligible. The players who I would be wary of are certainly of those City and Spurs players who have the Champions League on the kind of Tuesday night immediately afterwards. I think it's City and Spurs, isn't it, who play Champions League Tuesday? Yeah. So those are the teams where, and the Spurs is the interesting one. You know, City was always this question for rotate, but you know, Conte has largely kept a very kind of settled front 5 or 6. Still hasn't rested any of these. I assumed Son would get a rest this week, to be honest, and then my gut felt that the Fulham game was where Kane would finally get a little bit of a rest, but now I'm not so sure because I can't believe he'll rest both Son and Kane in the same match.
I mean, ridiculously, actually, Tottenham play on Wednesday. We should know that.
Oh yeah, it's Chelsea Tuesday.
Chelsea
Tuesday.
Chelsea City Tuesday.
Okay.
Tottenham,
Chelsea City.
Well, that's mudded then.
Yeah.
Either way, the point still stands. I one of those one of Son or Kane, I believe, will miss Fulham. I don't think Kulusevski will. He came off early.
Yeah.
And Richarlison is playing generally off the left, off of the centre. So. Yeah, I think now probably Son would have a rest in that match. But Perisic, yeah, I can't see him starting again. Can you see him starting again? I mean, you know, he's not quite Haaland, is he? He's not one of those players you really want to be putting in your starting lineup to get the last 20 minutes for, or is he?
Well, I think the only thing about when Perisic does come off the bench is like you say, Son. I think Son will miss out. I think Richarlison will come in. And I think there's 2 reasons. One is you got to freshen it up. But 2 is Son's playing badly. Quite simply.
So badly.
You know, and that really is hurting us as Spurs fans and as Tottenham in general, where the whole attack is suddenly gone from being up there pushing Liverpool and City to, in terms of goal numbers, expected numbers, to nowhere near, really. And they've got to do something in there. I do wonder, though, if you play with Richarlison off the left, you're like, well, actually, you completely changing the left-hand side by then putting Sessi on, and maybe you do keep Perisic in there. But like you say...
But they've had minutes together. That combination have had minutes together, in fact. So...
The positive, if you took Son out, is the premium set piece taker, as in the first, we only really got 2 set piece takers, and it's Son and Perisic.
This is true. So I was going to ask you a question, in fact, who actually takes your set pieces if they're off?
So if you take both of those ones out, it's probably Ben Davies taking corners.
Yeah.
Really? But he's like a threat in there, isn't he?
I know, but he takes
why can't Kulusevski take one?
He's never taken them. Just doesn't take them for us. But you'd think that, wouldn't you? I think maybe you probably, I'm sure he probably can take a corner. I'm sure.
But even I can take a corner.
Yeah,
you know.
Emerson Royale can definitely not take a corner.
I'd probably prefer Richarlison to take him, to be fair.
I think Bentancur might have taken a few, but he's got his concussion. I'm not sure if he's back or not.
No, I don't think he will be.
Hoiberg,
oh God, no.
So that is the thing, isn't it? Like ideally, you want. This is what I've always thought. If Perisic was on the bench and Son starts, actually Perisic is still a decent option because Son likely goes off. He comes on for 30 minutes and has all the set pieces, and you're like, well, actually, that makes it okay. this is a weird one where the two people you think are not going to play is the two set piece takers. So perhaps one does, but yeah, and almost all of our goals have come from set pieces this season. Like, we're not making enough in open play. We're doing lots of set piece goals. So, mate, I've got Perisic on the bench at the moment, and now I've just completely ruined myself. It depends who you've got. Like Neco Williams. Like, how do you not play Neco Williams this weekend if you've got?
Yeah, exactly. That's that. I've got him. I'll be playing with it.
Ooh,
I'll be playing him under the condition that if he doesn't get any points at home to Bournemouth, I'll never play him again. In fact, I'll probably take him straight out of the team. But yeah, I can't possibly justify having him on my squad when I've got like Gabriel away at Man United, Pereira away at Tottenham. And I can't justify really playing these players above Williams home to, the worst attacking team in the league.
Yeah.
But he'll probably miss out. I mean, Forest have signed another 17 new players today. So, who knows if he'll even get him a team.
I mean, they've got to play at least 4 up front, surely, in terms of... I don't even know how they register this amount of players. That's what I can't even work out.
It must be a record for players.
I remember Fulham going nuts 2 years ago. They went nuts. They signed about 13, didn't they? Something like that. It was mad. I think we've lost your sound again, PJ, for some reason.
Yeah. Sorry, my child wandered in, so I just muted myself for a moment.
That's fine. Okay. You did pre-warn me of that, so that's.
I did do that. Yeah, she's out of the eye line. It's fine.
Fair enough. Cool. So, I want to run through some games from the week gone by. And
let's talk about Liverpool and Salah. Let's get to them.
Okay, cool. Let's just go to Liverpool. So for those that are not watching, or if you are watching, you've seen these graphs before. These are the XG progress charts, I guess, through the game. And if you're listening, that's what we're talking about, basically.
I think Newcastle felt better than 0.4 XG in this game, like as a game. I mean, I know the Isaac, because it's off. This is the thing: offside goals, own goals
doesn't count, does it? Yeah.
Nothing counts in these ones. So there's different noise about this, but certainly you went in at half time thinking that they were more than a match. Like, they're good, Newcastle.
They just work so hard. They work so hard, and lots of team work hard. But, considering when Newcastle were missing, 3-4 crucial players from their first team. I mean, it's Maximin, Bruno Guimaraes, both of their first choice centre backs.
And Wilson as well.
And just bandages himself up and comes on.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was an exceptional performance, as it was against Manchester City, and they are very much in a mixer for. For certainly top 6 and potentially even kind of top 4. I really do like the job that Eddie Howe has done there.
They don't need to worry about. Yeah, they don't need to worry about these games where they've, they've got a point at City. They've got beaten in the last second, literally at Anfield. I mean, it will hurt in the immediate term, but I don't think they need to take much negative
but to see
points.
Exactly to see that from a fan point of view. And there were a few crybabies, as you tend to expect, because of the late nature of the game, but generally the majority of Newcastle fans who I was chatting to after the match were just incredibly proud at the performance, and as they should be, and that is a team very much on the up. And you could potentially make the opposite case against Liverpool at the moment, despite winning. This is a team who I thought they'd missed Thiago, but not to this extent. They just seem incapable of creating anything, certainly through the middle of the pitch without Thiago, and that is obviously affecting Salah. They beat Bournemouth 9-0, but I mean that was a freak result. If you look at the other 4 results, they struggled in all of those games. So I mean that's because I've got triple Liverpool. I've still got Andy Robertson in my team.
What are you doing, Robbo?
Well, I've just there's always been I wanted to give him the first couple of weeks, and then since then I've had like an injury or like an issue every week. So it's been like, well, if he's playing and he's starting, I'm gonna keep him in there. So I'm kind of like bound to it now. I keep thinking he's gonna click, and I think the issue is actually more Diaz. A lot of people don't agree with me on this, but it's that relationship, hasn't worked yet in a way that obviously the Robbo Mane relationship works so well. Diaz is so selfish. He's a great player. I think he's a good FPL player to own, a much better FPL player to own than Robertson at the moment because of that selfishness. But he's affecting Andy Robertson potency, and he's affecting Mo Salah, I think, fundamentally as well, because of his, he wants to kind of be everywhere, do everything, kind of cut in. He reminds me of like that famous David Beckham performance against Greece, where he scored, obviously equalised, but he covered more ground than like any footballer in history. But turned out he had also given away the ball more than any footballer in history, and that seems to be like every game to Luis Diaz. So
he is one of those type of players. I think that's something. I hadn't really considered it, but like Richarlison is very similar when he comes on for us. Is that suddenly it's all very well. It looks like it gives you impetus, but then you're not getting the ball to Kane. You're not getting the ball to Kulusevski or Sutton, whichever two are still on the game, because he wants to do literally everything, pop up everywhere and get involved. I do see that you lose a bit of shape, whereas Mane was just, you knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, and he was direct as well, which meant that he wanted the ball in important places, whereas you find Diaz wants it everywhere, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So
he'll chase all over the pitch.
Exactly.
For it.
So he'll be everywhere. Yeah, definitely. So
Salah, as you were saying, Baker. I mean, what I presume, I mean, what's your take on his scoring?
I mean,
or lack of scoring.
We talked today about that, like the shots he's had this season, and just overall volumes down ridiculously compared to where he was like the start of last season. Like the start of last season was ridiculous. He was literally everywhere. But there's that bit that you used to see him all the time, that sort of come off the right, sort of 15, 18 yards out, off the right, sort of bending it into the far corner type position. But don't seem to see it anymore. He's like getting pushed way too wide. And we talked about it last week, but he doesn't seem upset about it too much. That first 60 minutes, not only did he, not have any real goal involvement, but he just didn't feel like he was going to be there. And then I did think as the game went on, it was more like, I want to be involved. So I know, Haaland captain is like us will say it's a bit of a lucky assist that he gets to the end, but he's put himself in the box. He's putting himself more in there towards the end.
I think that's a good point. I agree that he doesn't seem as, he would throw, his little tantrums, the arm gestures and stuff. And I didn't notice that until the kind of last 10 to 15 minutes. First time I noticed it, there was a ridiculous poor decision making by Fabinho when he blazed one over from like 25 yards when Salah was free in the box. And he really should have found that made me think of Thiago at the time, because I was like, Thiago would have made that pass 100% because he's such an intelligent footballer. And I can understand how Thiago missing from Liverpool is so big, but it seems like they've all lost that kind of collective decision making, just the decision making of that team generally. I think that's it's not for want of effort. They're running all over the place. They're pressing, they're going at it hell for leather. They may ultimately won the game because of that pressure against Newcastle. But the decision making just looks kind of really poor. It all clicked against Bournemouth, but in all the other matches, it's not like they're missing countless chances or like there's errant passes like flying over. It just feels that they get to that final third and they're just not making the right choices. So I don't really know if that's borne out by data. It's just but that's not why you invited me on, ultimately.
Well, he looked at it so goal attempts in the first 5 games of last season, he was 4.4 goal attempts per game, and that's down to 2.8 so far this season. And that includes in a 9-0 win. And then the other in the sort of reverse chances created last season, he was 2.8, and now he's 4.2. So they've basically flipped. It was basically 7 goal involvements, either chance creation or shots. And he's still getting those 7, but he has flipped, as you said, into that more creative role. So it plays out in the stats, what you're saying. It's just the this week, you've got Mo, you've got big derby. Everton, I actually think, aren't too bad at home. I know they're a bad team, but they were quite tight at home in each time. So I was seeing
they were before, and Cody and Tarkowski are a very different centre-back partnership than what they ended the last season with.
So, Captain Mo?
I've still not decided. I think I'm gonna wait until I see the kind of Man City predictors about how confident they are of Haaland starting. But I'm not feeling it anyway. I kind of feel I'm feeling a punt this week. I would you know, I'm considering Kulusevski at home to Fulham, or dare I say it, a wild punt on Pascal Gross. So
really?
That's really wild.
Yeah, I just think that the Everton game will actually be quite tight at Goodison. I definitely captain Mo if it was at Anfield.
Yeah,
but I think that would be tight, and I would personally be very, very surprised if Haaland played, and I'm not going to captain a player who I think will play 30 minutes. I just never will. That's just not how I can play fantasy football. Yes, he could come on and score a hat-trick in 30 minutes, but I know that. I'm not trying to deny that that's not possible. I just don't want to captain a player who's only going to come on for the last 30 minutes of a match, fundamentally. So
there is that. There is that challenge this week that all the real captainable options are away from home, as well as the sort of expected rotation that we're going to get. So, you know, like Leicester at home could be a real fun punty one for Brighton. And that's kind of weirdly, if Haaland hadn't scored a hat-trick, I mean, I know we're saying this post-fact, but if he hadn't scored a hat-trick, I mean, someone like Kane could have been a realistic could have been a move that people could have made on a short-term basis if they're looking to wild card in 8 or whatever, and just ridden out without Haaland for a couple of weeks. But I'm also looking at like Tony as well, home to Leeds. I think there's potential there as well, but you know, I just don't feel like he's not going to explode, as well as all my explosive players are away from home. So it just feels a bit. And then the one team you want to target is Bournemouth, and then they're playing Forest, and all of us have only got one player from that team, and we're not captaining Nico Williams. So
maybe captain Neco is the way. If we get a leak that Darwin is starting, would anyone be tempted there?
Well, on Darwin, or
I'm assuming most of us would need to take a hit to get there to try and do it.
No.
Yeah,
not personally.
It's hard work for me to get there.
I mean, no one else is basically removing Gabriel Jesus. I don't think Gabriel Jesus is a bad captain option. This week, to be honest, or Martinelli for that matter. I think that would be kind of quite open. I also have a vice captain on the last game of the weekend as a general rule, just kind of a superstitious kind of trait. I mean, but because I tend to like not captain players who I think have any chance of not playing, which basically means that I never end up captaining Man City players, which is probably where I've been going wrong over the last 2 or 3 years. Basically, I hate Pep Guardiola. My form at fantasy football is directly correlated with Pep Guardiola taking over at Manchester City.
I mean, there is that on the Sunday, isn't there? That you've got Brighton home to Leicester, and you've got Arsenal away United, and obviously they're playing right now as we talk, sort of thing. So we looked at those rest days, and they have got that longer period. I hadn't even realised that the City game though is even at 5:30, so it is a little bit extra that they get in the rest. But then a little bit less they get in the recuperation, as you said. I'm still on Haaland, mate.
Oh yeah,
I just can't enjoy those 30 minutes, mate. Yeah,
I just can't look away from it right now. We'll see. Like you say, as there'll be a lot of predictions, and predictions in general have been very, very useful. And I think we just have to see where.
I do the Man United ones as part of which started off all full of promise this season, and then everybody removed Man United players from their team, so we become completely useless. I'm hoping we can build that back up again. By grinding out 1-0 wins as we seem to be doing at the moment. So anyway, but I do think our defenders, if we carry on like we are at the moment, 1-0 with 50 minutes left, obviously off the back of another clean sheet and we were very close to a clean sheet against Liverpool as well. The Varane-Martinez combination does look considerably more solid, and obviously with Casemiro coming in there as well, I think the United defenders potentially do offer a kind of a lot of value at the moment, because those of you like me on double Liverpool at the back is probably not gonna last for too much longer.
No.
Just a quick one I'll throw out there before you say Tottenham. A quick one I'll throw out there. Would you captain Reece James this week against West Ham?
No, because I just can't see Chelsea keeping clean sheets at the moment. And if I'm going to captain a defender, I've got to think they'll likely keep a clean sheet first. Like I would have captained a Man City defender this week had Haaland not obviously being. I think this is a great game week to captain Cancelo.
Yeah.
But no, I think West Ham will score. So where was their striker, by the way, yesterday?
Scamacca or his name is.
Yeah. Where was it? He wasn't in the squad.
Illness. He had a virus. Yeah. So he wasn't.
They would play Antonio against us all day long. Bring up Tottenham one. We had this literally same conversation a couple of weeks ago. Is Chelsea play Tottenham at Chelsea? It's their big game. West Ham play Tottenham. It's their biggest game of the season. So I'm not sure exactly how much West Ham are back with that ones, but Tottenham weren't there. I think that's the definite position where we are in, and this is continual now that we are not attacking fast, not even a little bit fast. Is at half time the volume of chances that we're involved in is pretty low. Now this looks slightly better again. It's an own goal. If that's Son tapping it in from 1 yard, then we're starting at 1xG type things there. But just the sheer volume of chances in the first half is low. And it's one of the main reasons is we just get domination centre midfield. We play two centre midfielders. Very few teams nowadays have two centre midfielders. They all have 2 and a 10 or 2, or 3 in there. And
why are you still playing Højbjerg? When
we keep losing them. I think a lot of us hoped that we would have Bentancur and Bissouma in, but Bentancur's concussed. Skip was back on the bench, so maybe he can be answered. But every manager, mate, they love Højbjerg. It just keeps happening. He just gets dominated. He gets dominated. Their goal.
Yeah,
he's just standing watching. He does nothing.
No, there was somebody. It was probably Peter Drury or someone. One of my favourite pieces of commentary on Højbjerg, where he said he seems to give the ball away just so he can try and win it back.
or point to someone to win it back. It's more the way it is. He's a jockey. He jockeys every time. He never ever makes the challenge. He's I'll keep running with you, keep running. Oh, God, you're gone. But we just get dominated every time we play a 2-man midfield with Højbjerg. It's a problem.
But Fulham don't play 3 in the middle, do they?
Well, they play quite a lot of narrow guys. You wouldn't call Pereira a winger, would you? You wouldn't really do those things. So I suspect that they're just going to play Mitrovic up front, aren't they? And then there will be 5 or so players playing around him.
You don't sound that positive for a team that's unbeaten on 10 points.
Yeah.
I mean, you are absolutely shit to watch. So I do understand.
Yeah, it is. So Tottenham is a game of of moments when you watch us is for 80 minutes. Then if you actually watch a live game, it's not that enjoyable. If you just watch Match of the Day in general, it looks great. You just see this. Oh, they created a big chance. Oh, they created a big chance. You don't see the 20 minutes of just nonsense that they play in the meantime, just passively playing through games.
I think you've missed Romero for certainly the last couple of days. Not not that you've been particularly struggling so much of a back, but I just think that energy that he brings. I mean, he's obviously a literal psychopath, so exactly. that helps. But I think that kind of galvanizes everyone. I see it in Bentancur, kind of carries on in Bentancur and then in Kulusevski, kind of as you get further up. It's just that little bit of nastiness. And I think all teams, we have it with Bruno. You need, everyone needs those players who all the other fans hate.
Yeah,
who are just always going to be in your face, not give you a moment's peace. And you've definitely missed that. Your back three with, Sanchez has done well when he's come in, but Eric Dyer and Ben Davies are such passive players for centre backs.
Yeah, they've got to do something more interesting. Lenglet, either the left-sided centre back and a Davies who can actually pass, or you can't have a right side that's got Sanchez, Emerson Royale, and Højbjerg in it. It's like
no,
fuck.
Particularly not one I've owned, Kulusevski. Come on,
yeah.
Say throw me a bone here.
Leaves him to do anything, nothing. In fact, so I was kind of hopeful that I would take a punt on a Spurs man this week, but.
No, well, I'm still tempted by Kulusevski. I probably won't do it because for the reasons you've just outlined. I just think he looks so flat. But
I mean, at the same time, even though we have looked passive, Kulusevski's been the outlet, right? He's been been the sort of shining light. As soon as the ball gets to him, then things happen. But it's just the distribution out from that right hand side is poor. There's no composure from Davinson, and that makes everything down that right hand side nervous. Emerson Royale's no good in tight spaces. He's no good at moving the ball quickly. And I think, whilst Højbjerg is not a good player, he's a better player with Bentancur on the pitch as well, because he's a slightly different role. And it doesn't help when Hugo starts kicking the ball out of play and stuff like that, and then 5 minutes later starts pissing around on his own goal line with stuff, and that just doesn't instill confidence in the rest of the back line. But
we're just trying to play football with players that can't play football.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. And so Sanchez is perfectly adequate as a defender, defending and just get his head on the ball. That's perfect. But we need more than that to be able to start building attacks, especially building attacks quickly, which is what we need to do if we're going to soak up pressure, which Conte likes to do, and then move the ball upfield quickly. So I'm even with Perisic at the moment, I still don't feel like the team has understood where he's going to put the ball when he's delivering it as well, because the way he delivers the ball is not drilled in, it's not whipped in. There's a very much a float about the crosses that he puts in. So, but he's normally pretty good at getting them in the spot where defenders are working their way backwards and the keeper is not wanting to come out to get him, but then it just lands at nobody at the moment. So once they figure that bit out, maybe we'll be... oh, my word. Ronaldo's almost scored a bicycle kick. Anyway, so...
He didn't.
No.
He didn't.
No, he didn't.
Arsenal.
Yeah, we probably should go there before Mike leaves.
I mean, they're completely opposite. They're just straight out of the blocks on it every single week. You just said, though, United are tighter and you're at home. But, I mean, Martinelli...
I think it's tough. It'll be an interesting game, a measure of kind of how... a better measure of how we're looking when I think the Liverpool game, because the Liverpool game is a derby, and the derbies are so unpredictable. And also, we could counter against that. I do wonder if we'll be able to counter in the same way against Arsenal, if they will come out very aggressive, and we'll be able to hit them on counter. It's one of those games that I like. I've probably looked down. I'm not going to bother trying to kind of predict it or kind of anything. I think hopefully kind of just enjoy it as a fan, but it's one of those ones where you say I wouldn't buy any assets for, but I wouldn't remove particularly attacking assets for. And Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli, who was obviously extraordinarily underpriced, but was seen by many as a rotation risk. I think he's played 90 minutes every week, hasn't he? He's on set pieces.
5
minutes. He looks his fitness right up into the 90th minute. He has just not stopped running. And if you compare him to Diaz, he is making proper runs. He's honestly, I think other than Haaland, he's probably my, I think he's been the best player the best attacking player, certainly in the Premier League so far this season. He's looked that good that, I would bank on him scoring against us, particularly against Diego Dalot, who, let's be honest, is not a real defender. He's only a real defender if you compare him to Emerson Royale. So I think that's the levels we're talking about.
I mean, Martinelli, if you compared Martinelli and Sutton and said who's the 12 million and who's the 6 million midfielder, so
exactly,
it's Martinelli. He's doing everything. He's taking set pieces. He's just getting shot volume off like mad. He's always involved.
And I mean, if you had a wild card, if you had to wild card and they repriced everyone, and Martinelli was 10 million, I'd still buy it.
Get him.
I'd still buy him for 10 million. That's the type of form that he's currently showing for that Arsenal team. He looks like he could score or assist in almost every goal. So, yeah,
is he a captain option?
I don't think he is away to us. I'll probably have him as a vice just in case anything happens. But certainly going forward, I had him as my vice the other week as well when I had Salah against us because when I thought the game might be called off because of the protests and stuff, and I just looked at the first two games and I said I think Martinelli's a better captain option than Gabriel Jesus, who is coming off a little bit earlier often for Nikita. Yeah. He's not on penalties, Gabriel Jesus, from what we could tell. He obviously gets less points than Martinelli. And also he's petulant and more liable to get booked, which he has done obviously in the last couple of games as well. So, which is not knocking Gabriel Jesus. He's been obviously a fantastic signing for Arsenal, and obviously his ownership in FPL is extraordinary. But I think Martinelli is the go-to captain for Arsenal if you wanted to captain an Arsenal if when they're home to Bournemouth. I think they've got a great fixture after us, haven't they?
They have where are you? Everton at home, Everton, then Brentford, and then us. Yeah, they
Everton at home.
Fixtures, but the Everton at home is just.
And that's when Man City play Tottenham.
Yes,
don't they? So that's a tough game.
Oh, that is Liverpool and the Wolves. I mean,
Liverpool Wolves who are tight.
Liverpool Wolves.
I mean Wolves.
Yeah,
well, imagine being a Wolves fan. I mean, you think it's boring being
players, but
yeah, but they do. But it's a system. They just. I don't know who takes their shooting practice. I mean, it's just so frustrating how many shots they need. Well, is that the Bournemouth Wolves?
Oh, they had the shots. No.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me.
They had the shots.
They have chances. It's just like they don't want to make they could be clean through on goal, 2-on-1, and my heart wouldn't miss a beat. I'd have no conviction that they'd score at any point.
Yeah. Well, I tried to warn everyone on Twitter before the season started, but I kept getting laughed away by Wolves fans, funnily enough, who kept telling me that their attack was more fluid and it was much improved, etc., etc.
It's not happening.
No. So that's all we're going to show about Wolves and Bournemouth.
Yeah, we move on from them. Chelsea, Reece James, actually.
I think Chelsea are one of the most interesting teams so far this season in terms of how kind of bizarre they've been. They're conceding goals, they're scoring goals. All their games, they seem to have these moments where they were absolutely brilliant for an hour at least against you. Could have won by 3 or 4 in that period. And then they're just absolute excrement in kind of periods as well. Having players sent off left, right, and centre, seem to lack discipline. And Thomas Tuchel is not, and Chelsea have not done well for a while now. If you look at their record in 2022, it's nowhere near top 4 standard, even top 6 standard.
No.
So they're very interesting. Kai Havertz, I can't remember the last time he scored. It's just, very, very odd. Who they've got? They're home to West Ham.
West Ham.
Yeah, I just they're hard. But if you were buying their assets, people are buying Reece James back or buying him for his fixture. I don't understand that. I don't understand that against West Ham, who, like you say, these are their the games against Chelsea and Tottenham are their finals every year.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just Mendy in general set pieces and play. And Souček was like gone back a season suddenly against us. It was up there, and I've noticed it quite a few times now this season. It wouldn't surprise me if he got on the sheet, he got score sheet against Chelsea and caused them all sorts of problems.
But they're going to set up a little bit differently. You think Fofana's going to just come straight in, and then James is going to go back out to right wing back where he belongs?
He's been playing, hasn't he? So.
Yeah, they've just got to play him.
And
they've got to play Reece James right wing back. What he's doing being played at right centre back, I have no idea.
You play against West Ham. They've got loads of tall lads, so you have to play the tall lads that you've got. So they'll have to play Fofana, Thiago Silva, and Koulibaly as a back three.
But Loftus-Cheek's massive, and he keeps playing him. They've got a lot of tall
point,
players.
Actually, it's a good point. Tuchel did mention about the fact that he keeps playing Loftus cheap because he needs a bit of extra height. So, for fuck's sake, please don't do.
Well, you could play him in the centre. They don't have any
midfield at the moment.
They have any fit centre midfielders, do they? So, yeah.
They signed Dennis Zakaria today from Juventus, but like that's probably not likely to be an impact on this weekend. You'd imagine.
Yeah.
So they're hot mess.
No, they'll wait and see. I took out Reece James this game week for Gabriel, which obviously didn't go brilliantly.
Wow.
Because he only got 2 points, and now I'm benching him away to us. But the reason I did it was because I looked at Chelsea's 3 fixtures afterwards, up until the likely wildcard period of kind of game week 9 in the international break. And I just couldn't really see any clean sheets there. So I was like, I know Reece James can score or get an assist because he's that good. I love him as a player. But, those people have bought, I don't know if I've YouTube obviously boarded the kind of Cucurella wagon. Obviously that's died horribly, hasn't it?
No,
I've not. I've kept James, so I've still got James.
I've gone the same route as you. I've got rid of James. I didn't quite go for the sleeky Gabriel. I went for brute force Adam Webster instead with Brighton's fixtures.
The obvious move. Yeah,
obvious move. Let's go for Brighton.
At least he didn't go for Lewis Dunk.
Yeah. Happy days. Avoided him completely, which was nice. But yeah, Brighton. I mean, Fulham have been good. Fulham have been good, and I think players or teams are going to find it difficult to go to Fulham. And we talked about it pre-season and saying like it's a really cramped pitch. I think it's a little bit bigger now. They've redone that stand. Actually, the stadium probably feels a little bit bigger now. They've redone that one stand, but it's still it's a pitch that they're going to want to feel they feel comfortable on, and they're causing problems. And
Mitrovic. They're going to cause teams problems, and they've got Mitrovic who scores goals.
Yeah,
just shit goals.
Yeah,
and they're just very attacking generally. They're just very positive. They want to score goals. They have decided that they're going to try and stay in this division by scoring goals.
Yeah, it's Marco Silva, isn't it? That's the way.
If you've got Tim Ream in defence, you don't really have much of a choice but try and score goals.
No. But if you compare obviously how well they've done to the, Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, it's apples and pears. They've obviously come out firing, and no one would be tipping them for relegation at the moment. So
no,
and Mitrovic is in nowhere near as many teams as he probably should be, and still won't be because they don't have great fixtures for the next 3 or 4 either. So,
I think we will look past them again because you immediately, like even from earlier game, Isak we mentioned, you've got out there now suddenly it's 7 million. 7 million seems quite cheap. We just still keep ignoring the guy that's like 6.6 or 6.7 where he is. It's just scoring every single week.
That's one of the transfers I've considered in like Isak short term and then wildcard to Mitrovic when his fixtures change, and try and get some kind of new player bounce if that exists. While Newcastle have got Palace, West Ham,
finding ways to not do Mitrovic.
It does feel a bit like that, but
I think it's a switch to free up. It's a switch to free up top fundamentally because you just can't remove Jesus or Haaland.
No.
So
I've got Ivan Toney, so I'm quite comfortable in navigating around that price.
Yeah. So you're playing free up top at the moment, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have that 8 million. I don't have that 8 million midfielder, so I've kind of
fair enough.
That's what I've sacrificed to get to where I am. So so I'm taking Toney instead at the moment, and but hopefully.
I can see him scoring against us on the weekend. And then they've got home to Chelsea next week, who we've just literally talked about, can't keep a clean sheet. Then he moves into Forest away in game week 8.
Yeah, that's the one you kind of want him for.
And then Newcastle at home in 9. Any of those home games, and West Ham away in 10. Like it'll keep ticking over because he always gets the volume. But we are going to look for shiny new toys. We've got Isak, and then we've got Alvarez. If you haven't tripled up on there, is cheap.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
There's Toney, just carries on doing Toney things. Like there's loads of them, and most of us are still running on too.
I think the fact that none of those midfielders in that kind of bracket, in that kind of, Martinelli is obviously in that bracket slightly below, even though he clearly should be higher up. But, there's obviously been no one in that kind of 7 to kind of 9 million kind of midfield bracket has obviously kind of performed with the way that some of those strikers have yet. So
I haven't really looked where the Rodrigo transfers are going. Like, do those people start moving to an extra man up front? Because what have they said? Like 4 weeks or something? So that's
4 weeks beyond the international break. We go to the international break, before he's back. So I'm just trying to have a quick look.
I think a lot of them went straight to Gross. I think that was the kind of
good point.
Immediate early transfer for a lot of people. Obviously, Gross rose last night.
Yeah.
So
because Zaha's the other one.
Zaha.
Yeah, and Zaha, they're often ignored, Wilfried Zaha. But again, Palace just had awful fixtures the next 3. So
yeah. So Pascal Gross, is this serious? You might consider captaining him for this weekend?
I am. I am considering. I've already captained Pascal Gross once before, and he scored a penalty for me. So
if he was on the penalties, I think that. But
I can't quite understand why it's not. I'm grateful that he's not, as someone who hasn't owned him recently, because he would have been 2 more goals in.
Yeah.
And also, I am McAllister in Fantrax draft, so that was a bit of a lucky bonus. Shout out to FPL Mode, who I've just defeated in tonight's Fantrax game, thanks to the Sancho goal and Rashford assist.
Who's winning that Fantrax league at the moment?
I don't know. Some guy who's never played it before, who got last pick and has no idea what he's doing.
Some idiot invited.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Honestly, you give someone a PlayStation out of the kindness of your heart, and suddenly you're invited into a draft league, which you're bloody winning.
5-0, baby. 5-0.
No idea where we were.
Yeah, Gross captain.
Yeah, Gross. Yeah, I just like. It's just because of the doubts with Haaland. I think if the City predictors come back and they all kind of say that actually we really do think that Haaland will play for 60 minutes in this match, I'm gonna captain Haaland still. I'm gonna follow that herd.
Yeah.
And know, I don't want to lose kind of too much ground, in my mini leagues. But I don't really want to captain Mo again away to Everton, the way Liverpool are playing personally. Yeah, it's Mo, he could score lots, but to be fair, his ownership is lower now, but it's unlikely that he's going to have over 100% EO in that match anyway. So I'm quite happy for him to get the points. So then, like you say, it's like, well, where do I go? So if not Haaland, so then you asked the question, okay, if who would my vice be on? And my vice captain would be on probably on Pascal Gross or Martinelli. And yeah, I might do it, and he'll be rested randomly after playing 90 minutes 5 times in a row.
Well,
and that will teach me.
He played up top, didn't he? So
he played up top in this game, yeah. But Welbeck needed a bit of a rest because Welbeck can't play every 3 times a week. So Welbeck will definitely come back in.
And that's so much better for him, because you don't want him leading. Like the best thing that he's had so far this season is that he's the extra man. Welbeck does all the good work, and then and Trossard they're scared of, and then suddenly Pascal Gross.
But I think the issue what some Brighton fans are suggesting, that because Trossard won't go back to wing back because of a new guy whose name I can't pronounce over on the left.
Is it
there you go. So it's kind of who then sits in that middle. It's like, do they almost have to go back to 4 at the back to accommodate a front 3 of kind of Gross, Trossard, and Welbeck kind of all together?
I think because they did do that a bit though. Like,
they did
more
do
like
that.
Veltman was more right back, and then Estupiñán left back, and then it's more a bit fluid. Like
March. And Solly March he could play for Wolves. He's that bad at shooting.
He works hard though, doesn't he? He gets up and down.
He's one of those players who's always in. I love the Scout do an expected goals, report. He's always up there every season. Solly March, near the top of the expected goals, never fucking scores. Always up there. So
it's never happening.
Do you know that Solly March is the second? Because I looked at this spreadsheet just for camera. It's the second highest player who hasn't scored this season on the expected goals chart. Do you know the highest player who is on the expected goals chart? who's
Son?
yet to score a goal this season.
Yes.
Not Son.
Welbeck? No, Welbeck scored.
No, Welbeck. I think it's not Welbeck anyway. Nico Williams. There it is.
Oh,
Is
God,
it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
You got to play him this weekend.
You got to captain him.
He got
segue?
like 18 on the baseline yesterday, playing like that's a ridiculous. That's like a Trent level baseline playing against. City.
Well, he is a mini. He's been trained as to be Trent's replacement, as like Trent's reserve, hasn't he? So yeah, he is just a mini Trent.
Well, we've got nearly an hour without really mentioning Erling.
What's there to really mention though? I mean, there's not enough words to describe it. I know
he's such a. But did I review? I mean, we can all say everything with hindsight, but I'm interested because I didn't listen to any of your preseason pods. But there was, as with any big new player who comes in the league, there's always like, what did you think? And I'm not, trying to claim I was a soothsayer. I get so many things wrong, as Gianni Battici will quickly point out. But as soon as Haaland signed for Man City, particularly as a Man United fan, it was a real heart sink moment. My biggest probably since Jurgen Klopp, who I desperately wanted as Man United manager at the time, when he signed for Liverpool, I was like, fucking hell, that's gut wrenching. And when all the clubs to sign Haaland, City was the one I didn't want to sign him.
Yeah,
because you look at that team and you look at how a player who is basically like a bigger, better version of Aguero, who was amazing but just always out injured. I was like, he could score 40 goals easily. And he's got 9 already.
9 in the first 5 games. Yeah,
he's just a beast. He's a generational talent. He really is that good. And it's how many goals he scores is going to be only determined by injuries and ex-mins ultimately, because he's going to average a goal. I'd probably say he'll probably end up averaging a goal every 60 minutes this season. So
they just don't know what to do they? Because he doesn't. Like if someone tries to go toe to toe with him, like gets close on the market, well, that's it. It's over, because he's gonna just turn them, push him aside, and be on there. And then he kind of pulls off players all the time because he just thinks, I can give you 3 yards because then I can start running, and then if I start running, I'm just going to run straight through you, and it just batters people. It's just,
and he's not. I think it's his decision making. He's not even that selfish.
No
player. He's not like kind of Ronaldo when he kind of would do it all for himself. He reminds me more of a much better version of Didier Drogba, who was a brilliant player to begin with. But just in terms of that way that he can just batter, outpace, outmuscle people, so good in the air. But also he's got that kind of like that proper like an old school number 9, almost Lineker-esque kind of goal hanging ability as well, to always be there in the right place, right time. I actually don't think you can stop him. I think you have to stop the supply to him, which, good luck with that.
Can't stop the supply. And that's it. So it just becomes that question of, does he play? Like you say, it is that question of, does he play? And maybe, are people just perma-capping him because, hey, he'll play enough games. He'll play 30 games this season. I'm absolutely certain of that. Unless injuries tell you otherwise, he'll play it because what you just said there, he's generational. He's not the same. Like, I know they can say that they'll play Alvarez up top, but they're not the same. Like, no one is the same as this guy.
He's so young still. So young
still.
Just
keep playing him and taking him off.
How good he'll be in 3 or 4 years is frightening. I hope he doesn't become just a perma captain, as we've seen with other players in the past, obviously Salah as well. I really hope that's not the case, because it's not for the good of the game. I don't wish injury upon him or anything, but I certainly I hope that Pep does rotate him a little bit, just to give us that something to think about every week of is he going to be a 20-minute or a 70-minute hat trick, and that's the balance to give us something. Otherwise, because if he ends up starting almost every game and playing 60 minutes, he is going to be just a perma captain.
Yeah, that was my biggest concern last year with the Salah thing. It's not how I would like to play the game either, to be honest. I like to have fun with it. So yeah, hopefully we don't get to that stage. It's difficult to see a way past it though. I find it really
well. We
hard.
are at that stage from a general play, because I said it last week. He just scored a hat trick. He's playing Nottingham Forest. 4 million people in the game will captain him. And this week's going to be the same. 4 or 5 million people. We're a £10 million game now. At least 5 million of those players are just Haaland captain. Like that is going to happen again this week. Whether it works or not is a different matter. But
I think that's why for the good of the game, we need Haaland to be benched this week. And because like you say, it's like, people on Twitter might go one way, they'll look at the predictions and sort of stuff, but they say 5 million casuals are just going to slap the armband on him.
Yeah.
He could come out, Emma and, Luke and all the other guys on Twitter could come out and say that, he's almost certainly going to be benched. We could almost even get an early team news on Twitter saying that he's likely to be benched. 4 million people are still going to captain him this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he kind of feels like you need him to get that kind of 1 point for everybody to then think, he just let me down. So to kind of let that kick in. So yeah, hopefully, particularly given I'm almost certainly not going to captain him. Come on, 1 point early.
Yeah. We'll all be very happy with that. So
do you think it's possible for him to get 1 point though?
I don't think it is, to be honest, because if City are going to be chasing the game.
Well, this is
it.
it.
And that's the point.
It's game state.
Yeah.
It's game state when he doesn't start, isn't it? Because if City are winning 3-0, like why does he need to come out? Come on.
But if they're losing like KDB and comes on for 26, 27 minutes, like KDB did this week, or he doesn't. And I'm like, 26, 27 minutes?
Pep talks about getting that rhythm and that flow. Yeah. So I think he's kind of quite happy doing that. And you'd like to think all their games won't be quite so easy as
Tyrone Mings, mate. It's Tyrone Mings on the weekend.
It's a Forest game.
I mean,
yeah, and Luca Dean.
He's not even really breaking a sweat, is he? That's the thing. I mean, we talk about him needing a rest. It's like he touches the ball 15 times a game or something. Like it's just.
Yeah, I've seen some analysis of people doing that about how he's not busting a gut, so he doesn't really need a rest.
Edison done more yards on the ball, carried the ball further than Erling Haaland.
Fantastic.
That is lovely stat. That, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you two are obviously, taking the coward's way out of captaining this weekend, aren't you? So
I don't know. I'm not.
I don't think you will, Adam. I think you'll.
You think I'll captain Haaland?
I don't think you'll captain Haaland.
Oh no.
I think, yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when it comes to Saturday. Yeah. But
But if you think how quick, just
doesn't help when people come in here and start saying they might captain Pascal Gross, because then that really yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but 3 or 4 days ago, people were talking about taking Haaland out for this fixture and bringing in Harry Kane and doing the Harry Kane Haaland shuffle. I mean.
FPL review suggests it, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still suggesting it. 3 days is a long time in FPL. It's just crazy that was being considered. And now, like you say, we're talking about perma captain. In reality, the truth probably lies something in between, and something will change in the next couple of weeks, whereby, we'll be back having to make a decision again. But maybe. Yeah, Pascal Gross is definitely the better captain of the two this week.
Clipped, shorted, ready to go.
Ready to go.
Hey, what we got left? We got anyone left?
Palace and Brentford is all we've really got left. So,
and Man United, Leicester.
Well, I haven't got the. We can talk about that game.
I guarantee, having watched that game, the graph would just be completely flat for both teams. Absolute rubbish, but United look a lot more solid, and Leicester look in complete disarray. And probably not 1 point for Danny Ward owners, unless he got booked.
Oh, did he get?
Which would be quite funny.
That was genuinely brilliant.
Let me have a quick look at that.
No save point, obviously.
Yeah, no save point, 1 save.
3 saves in the entire game.
2 points for him. So Diego Dallo somehow. Hold on. Diego Dallo's we kept a clean sheet. I was going to say, how on earth has he got free bonus? So,
free bonus with a yellow card.
Yeah, free bonus for a yellow card.
Wow.
And then Sancho and Varane. So
what's that? 20 baseline? It's good.
Yeah, so Diego Dallo, on Holly Shan's watch list, which I questioned, but probably should be on
him as much of a defender as Emerson Royale a minute ago, but
yeah, well, no, I said slightly above.
Okay,
Emerson.
Well,
it's a low bar.
Emerson can be good on the baseline as well. To be fair,
well, he's great on BPS.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
nothing
else.
He's a He's not a footballer, is he?
He's not.
He's a professional athlete who's been turned into a footballer somehow. But he doesn't possess any ability to actually play football. And nothing will convince me otherwise.
Fair enough.
I don't care if he gets 38
We're not trying
bonus.
to convince you, honestly. Really not.
What about Wilf Zaha, though, boys? Like, you say you can't go there now. Can we not?
Well,
I mean, for who? If you still inexplicably own Mason Mount, would you, of all those options in that ballpark, would you turn to Zaha?
I feel like we're going to feel like this all season with Zaha. Because the fixtures never really get there. Like their next 6, away to Newcastle, home to Man United, away to Brighton, home to Chelsea, home to Leeds, away to Leicester. It's like they're okay.
I don't think they're that bad.
They're not good.
No, they're not. But the more difficult ones are the home games, which makes me feel better about it, if you know what I mean. So the Chelsea at home, the United at home, the Newcastle away is not great. In fact, actually, that feels like the toughest one out of the lot. And even Brighton away actually doesn't feel great either at the moment. Although it's one of those, it's a derby, it's that derby that isn't a derby, which isn't a derby, but it's just a rivalry or whatever. But so that's kind of the game that he pops up in, though. I think he's got a history of scoring against Brighton. So,
what about you with Tony? Because lots of people have got Tony now. I mean, well owned, but they've got
Leeds, Southampton, then Arsenal at home, then Bournemouth. I mean,
they are 3 out of the next 4 away after this weekend, though. And the home game is against Arsenal.
Yes, I could feasibly go away. I don't want to go away from him this week, but I could feasibly go away from him next week. And that could. It just feels like it's a week early for Mitrovic. That's the thing with the Chelsea game.
But I think
Brentford are a hard team to call for me. They're one of these teams, not just obviously because of a ridiculous result against us, but generally they perform well in the bigger games as well.
Yeah.
They dig in. They're a team who kind of seem to find that extra gear in most bigger fixtures. So they're not one of those teams which are kind of flat track bullies, which you look at the fixture ticker and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get a lot of points off this nice run in a way that you will off some teams. Arsenal have been historically a classic example of, green fixture ticker, way in, and as soon as it turns sour, get the hell off. So yeah, that's my concern with Brentford, that and why I end up kind of never kind of owning a lot of their players, because I can never call their results. They just seem quite unpredictable, in a good way. They're great to have them in the league and they play great football, but they give away silly goals. Other than Tony, they share the points around so much. He often makes 55, 60-minute subs a lot.
Yeah.
So it is kind of quite difficult to kind of pinpoint them. So
yeah. So someone's asked, back to Palace, would you go Zaha on a wild card even if you can't get to him now? Would you go to him on wild card?
No, I wouldn't, because I think Martinelli, Salah, and Gross are probably.
And I think if you're on a wild card right now, you go 3 up top.
And then I think you'd go 3 up top rather than necessarily a Diaz as your.
So I think you'd be playing 4-3-3. I mean, you've got Salah, Martinelli as locks, and probably Gross or someone like that in the other one. Yeah,
I think I'll try and make a beeline to get him for game week 12 though. If we're looking that far in advance, I think game week 12.
Yeah, they do have a really good run there. Even some Leeds with 10. Is it week 10? They have Leeds and then Leicester, who are dire. So yeah, I think week 10.
Week 10. Sorry, that's even better. That's Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, and then Forest before the World Cup.
Yeah, I think that's
as good as it gets. I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely get him. Or Easy is the other one worth mentioning. I think at just 5.5, he's well worth looking at as well.
Yeah. Cool. And I think we're there with the games.
I think we're there, boys. So Pascal Gross captain for all of us, and we all own Pascal Gross, don't we?
Yeah, even Flatjack. I made Flatjack by Pascal Gross. He wanted to buy Leonardo Trossard, but I wouldn't let him. That's my unofficial role as his vice captain. So yeah, quadruple Pascal Gross captaincy this week.
Happy days. Happy days. Cool. Well, we'll call it there. PJ, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for your insight.
Pleasure, mate.
It's been great. I always say to Baker, I do like the guest stuff, but I end up not talking as much because I always just like to listen to you and or to Baker and whoever it is.
Yeah, apologies. I do talk quite a lot, so
that's fine.
I do apologise if I overstep the mark at times.
Never, mate. Never.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that.
Sounds like we're getting a bit odd here.
Well, I mean, you seem to agree with most of my Spurs bashing, which was unexpected.
Yeah,
so
we're not fighting at the moment. We're like from an FPL perspective, they're difficult.
Yeah,
because we're not fully dominating games. I think that's where we're at. I was going to say we don't normally pod on a Thursday night. We're normally Sunday night, but people can normally see or hear you on a Thursday night. Is that right?
Yeah, normally spaced with Sam Martin and Tom who get the assist on a Thursday night. We'll be back next Thursday night. With our space unscripted. Don't prepare anything advanced, just, not dissimilar approach to what you guys take, just looking at the games. We tend to look at the games, preview the games that are coming up, rather than kind of look retrospectively and just kind of talk about who we want to get in and how the players. And obviously we're all, big football fans as well as FPL fans. So we want to, make that discussion a little bit kind of football-y as well, in terms of kind of how our teams are performing. So. Yeah, particularly nice for Tom because Arsenal have been so bad for so long. So he's obviously, very happy so far this season.
It's one reason why I wouldn't listen, to be fair, actually. They're doing so well.
We can't deny it, boys, though. Like, we've got...
No.
There's a reason.
But you're only 2 points behind them. And, they lose to us and, you win and suddenly you're above them.
And the fixtures are turning.
Obviously you being in the Champions League makes a big difference, and I think that's just briefly when we were singing Newcastle's praises earlier, but them not being in any form of Europe is a huge plus for them to really attack every single league game with the kind of intensity that they did against Liverpool.
Yeah,
and we had a plan for it.
Full rest, full prep. It's exactly what they need to be able to,
and they do need it because they've got so many players made of glass.
Yeah, this is very true. Very true. Cool. Right. Well, we'll sign off there, guys. And I've just been. So Mike's just come in and said it's actually 4 points between Arsenal and Tottenham, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait to the week after. But
disappointing. There we go. I thought you won 2 others. Yeah, you've drawn.
We drew with West Ham, didn't we? Drew 2. Unfortunately, they've won them all. That's the problem.
Oh yeah. God damn Arsenal. Someone's got to beat them. We've got this.
Cool. Yeah. PJ, if you can handle that for us, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice one. So guys, if you're on YouTube and you're still watching, 220 of you and only 62 likes on the stream. So go ahead and hit that like button if you've enjoyed what we've been doing. Thanks again, PJ. Really appreciate you coming on, as I've said. Baker, good fun as always, mate.
Always, mate.
Cool.
The weekend.
And we will speak to you later. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.